Well, it's really interesting when you hear people like Ed Davey and basically the political establishment talk about British values. What they mean is open borders, no sovereignty, no say about who gets to come here, infinite amounts of money being taxed from British people to pay for welfare for people from abroad. That's what he refers to when he talks about British values. What we have said today, and we stand by this and we make zero apologies for this, Michelle, migrants who are here must pay their way, they must speak English, and they must not commit crime. If you are doing those...
Well, there you go. This is GB News Originals. I'm Emily Carver. Please do give this video a like and subscribe to our channel for more content like this. And do leave a comment. Let me know what you think.
Those things, cool. You're going to get one of our renewable visas. If you do not do those things, then I'm afraid, yes, you will lose your status of ILR. I want to give you a really interesting data point that speaks to, we were having a discussion earlier and you were using the past tense, Barry. We're talking about the Boris wave, the millions of people who are going to become eligible for this ILR status over the coming years, which is why we had to announce this today to avert that £250 billion at least disaster. In 2010, the number of dependents for people who are here on work visas was 0.7. 0.7 dependents for every work visa issued. That number now is 1.2. It's 1.2. And by the way, once they get ILR, they can bring in a hell of a lot more dependents. And the mix of that,
sorry, they can't just bring them in.
Yes, they can. There's no cap. There is no cap on ILR. What's the cap on the number of dependents people can bring in on ILR, Barry?
I'm sorry, you can't just bring them in. They have to apply. They have to be able to
And what's the cap?
Sorry, they have to be able to be accommodated and paid for. So that there has to be a salary level of the sponsor in order to allow them to come to the UK.
And
so this idea that suddenly...
Barry, what's the cap? What's the cap on the number of dependents?
Sorry, answer my question. Answer my question.
What is the cap on the
Answer my question.
What's your question?
My question to Zia is, isn't it true that they can't just come in, that they have to actually apply for a visa, be granted that on the basis of what they're going to do in the country, that they're good citizens, that they meet all those requirements, and that they are accommodated, they have accommodation, and that they are supported by their sponsor with enough money to look after them so that they're not onto the welfare state.
No, sorry, which qualification? So this is an important part of your question. You said all the qualifying requirements.
Their security is cleared.
Right.
But answer the question.
No,
do they need a sponsor?
That's not the case.
Do they need a sponsor?
Yes, well, that's the whole point. That's why they have a dependent. Yes, they have a sponsor. And they are coming here. So why is it then that the majority, of the people who are on Boris... No,
you completely misled the viewer to say that they can just... Any number can just come in.
I just asked you, what is the limit? I said there is no limit on the number of people who can come here on dependency visas. Tell me what the limit is,
The limit is...
Tell me what the limit... Barry,
I'll tell you if you just shut up for a moment.
I think you need to go and read about your own government's immigration policy.
The limit is the sponsor's ability to pay.
Excuse me.
The clash at the top. Zia Youssef and Labour lock horns over Britain's migration crisis. Welcome back to Britain Underneath, the place where we pull back the glossy curtain of Westminster to reveal the raw, unvarnished realities shaping our nation today. Before we dive into the heart of today's fierce showdown, please take a quick moment to subscribe to the channel. Supporting us directly helps keep this independent coverage alive. So tap that subscribe button and stay informed with us as the political landscape shifts around us.
Is there a limit to the number of dependents people can bring?
Yes, it's the sponsor's ability to pay for them, accommodate them, and make sure that they're not a burden on the state.
What is the number?
That is it.
So if I listen to your perspective, Barry, are you suggesting that then there are no foreign nationals claiming welfare then? If you're suggesting that everyone needs to work and people need to support their own kids, and why are there any foreign nationals on benefits then?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all. What we're talking about is people who come to this country under the route that Zia's just suggested. Yeah. And we're talking about people who come under ILR. Right? And what I'm suggesting and what I'm...
Barry, people don't come under ILR. Barry, people don't come under... They come under other visas. They apply for indefinite leave to remain. Their status inevitably changes during that period. And that is why I want to reiterate, one in six people, Barry, you can sit here and try to defend a system where already 1 in 6 claimants of universal credit are foreign nationals. And
but they're not on ILR.
That number is going to go bananas over the next few years
is
because of the Boris
Right, well,
way.
what are they
Barry,
then?
you need to,
Conflating.
Barry, I don't even know where to start. You need to
I'm
educate
gonna let
yourself
you talk,
on your
right.
own immigration
so hold
policy.
on, you two, because the viewers at home, they don't know what's going on. They're just trying to figure it all out. So if there's 1 in 6 people on universal credit of foreign nationals, that's Reform's figure. Who are these people and what they're doing?
Zia is confusing ILR, people who are here on ILR,
right,
with those people, those 1 in 6 that he's mentioned who are foreign nationals, right?
But that doesn't
because
say this.
If you qualify for ILR, you've been in the country, you've either been on a work visa or on a student visa, but you've been here for a minimum of 5, and the government has now said it will be increasing that to 10 years, and you have to have good standing in the country, not to have committed crimes, and you have to make sure that you are able to be in work during that period, and not to have left the country for more than 2 years within that
Do you think there should be any
period.
scenario where someone that's not a British citizen or not born in this country can just choose to live off benefits paid for by British taxpayers?
There may be some, yes.
Why?
Well,
that is people would deem that very, very unfair.
No, I don't think they would, because if somebody, for example, has fought for this country, let's say in Afghanistan, has been part of our troops in Afghanistan, and they come here and they're seeking refuge status from the Taliban, and they're here, they've helped our troops over there, and they are injured and not able to work, then actually I do believe that we do have...
That's quite a niche,
you asked if there was any instances,
number.
and I said, yes, I do think there are some instances.
I just can't get to the bottom of this claim, because you do separate it out, actually. You talk about indefinite leave to remain, and then you go on to separately say that 1 in 6 people on universal credit are foreign nationals. I'm trying to get to the bottom of how have we got a country where British taxpayers are paying for 1 in 6 recipient of universal credit to be a foreign national. Because I can't ever imagine a scenario where I would rock up at a foreign country and expect the taxpayers of that country.
Again, the implication that Zia was saying is that you do just rock up and claim. No.
That's not
Let me explain before he interrupts.
Barry, are you saying that 1 in 6 people on universal credit are not foreign nationals?
No. What I'm saying to you, if that's a figure, that's fine. What I'm saying to you is they may be people who've worked in this country for 20 years. Right? They may have contributed.
The British political arena is currently witnessing a level of friction that makes standard parliamentary debate look entirely mild. At the centre of the latest storm is Reform UK chairman Zia Yusuf, who recently clashed in an exceptionally heated exchange with Labour Member of Parliament Barry Gardiner over the volatile topic of migrant visas and welfare spending. It was not merely a disagreement over policy, it was a fundamental collision of 2 entirely different visions for the future of the United Kingdom. The dispute ignited when discussion turned to the long-term economic impact of foreign nationals receiving indefinite leave to remain status. Yusuf delivered a sharp critique of the current setup, arguing that the establishment has created a framework where migrants can access the state support network without sufficient long-term economic contributions. He pointedly noted that 1 in 6 claimants of universal credit are foreign nationals, warning that this figure represents a growing tax burden that British citizens are expected to absorb quietly.
To this country for 20 years. And Zia will attest that that's true.
Barry,
you can
just
be
claim that none of
universal.
those people are on ILR. That is nonsense. No. A lot of those people are on ILR. The whole point, the reason why we had to announce this policy is because ILR offers you the ability as a foreign national to get unlimited access to our welfare state at the behest of the taxpayer, the people watching this program, for the rest of your life. This is the problem, Barry. I'm sorry
Because
to say, I
you've
think you need to
contributed,
educate.
and because
Okay.
you've worked in this country, you've paid tax in this
Barry,
country, you will have had to have done
You
it
can
for 10
rewind the tape to what you
years.
just said about 2 minutes ago, where you said work and you did the sleight of hand or were a student. You started out in this debate claiming you took the position that the only way you got ILR was by working in this country for 5 years. I took you to task for that and you then corrected the record. You've now flipped back again. I say it again, Barry, I'm sorry. I think you need to educate. I don't think you're a bad man, but I think you need to
The
educate
government
yourself
website-
on the government's own immigration policy.
Look,
I don't think you understand
all
how
I would urge
catastrophic
people
it is.
to do is
and
to
the
go
people
on
who
the
are watching this
government's
program do,
website.
Barry.
Don't
Go
People
on
who
the
are watching this
government's
program.
website
Over
and
each other.
see what it actually says
I welcome people
about
to
the
do that.
qualifications that you need to get indefinite leave in this country. Right? Because
You just
it's
have to have
the
existed in
first
this
one-
country for
the
5 years. You
first
don't
one,
need to be working.
If
You don't
you
need to. You do
work
not need to
in
work.
the UK,
Number one.
you may be able to apply if you have a work visa.
And is that the only route?
You must usually have lived and worked in the UK for 5 years. If you have a Tier 1 visa, it can be 2 or 3 years. If you have and it goes
Right,
on.
hang on, because I just want to bring some clarity to this, because you lot at home are probably scratching your head going, what on earth is going on, Michelle? What is the reality? Right, from the horse's mouth, which is the gov.uk's website, let me try and make this clear for everyone. To get indefinite leave to remain, there are multiple different routes, OK? And I'm going to summarise this as best as and quick as I possibly can. Route 1, if you work in the UK, you might be able to apply if you've got a work visa. So yes, if you've got a work visa, you will have lived and worked in the UK for 5 years. That's one route. So Barry is correct on that route. A second route is if you have family in the UK. It doesn't reference on the government's website that you needed to have worked. Route 3...
Sorry.
Gardiner immediately fired back, defending the existing regulations with considerable heat. He argued that applicants for indefinite stay must pass stringent checks, prove extended residence, and show evidence of employment or legitimate sponsorship. According to Gardiner, the system already includes robust safeguards to ensure individuals are self-sufficient before they are granted permanent status, dismissing Yusuf's framing as an unfair misrepresentation of the rules. However, the dialogue rapidly devolved into a relentless crossfire. Yusuf challenged the government's math, asserting that under existing provisions, low-income visa holders can bring dependents into the country without a strict numerical limit, creating a net fiscal drag over time. Gardiner countered firmly, demanding to know the precise statutory mechanics behind Yusuf's numbers, and emphasising that sponsors must meet income thresholds to bring family members to the United Kingdom. What makes this clash so fascinating for viewers of Britain Underneath is the glaring disparity between official theory and practical reality. While Labour MPs often point to the written eligibility criteria on paper, millions of taxpayers across the country look at the public services stretching to their limits and draw entirely different conclusions. The debate laid bare a deep institutional denial about the cumulative strain on housing, healthcare, and social infrastructure. Yusuf's assertive style clearly rattled the traditional political guard. Rather than relying on polite parliamentary rhetoric, his commentary focused directly on the financial calculus that mainstream parties frequently sidestep. Gardiner, attempting to hold the line for the political establishment, found himself repeatedly on the defensive, forced to explain why a system designed to protect public funds currently oversees such significant expenditure. As the argument intensified, it exposed the core conflict that will define British politics for the coming decade. On one side, you have an establishment that insists the current machinery is managed, balanced, and fair. On the other side, you have a rising tide of critics who argue that the rules are fundamentally unfit for purpose and actively draining the nation's wealth. Take a breath, because this conversation is far from over. It is precisely these unscripted, raw moments of debate that highlight where our country is truly heading. If you value this kind of calm, rigorous, and straightforward analysis, please subscribe to Britain Underneath right now. Every single subscription genuinely aids our efforts to break down complex state affairs without the usual partisan spin. So hit subscribe and join our growing community today. Make sure you stay tuned and watch every episode through to the very end to catch all the nuances of these critical national discussions. Thank you for spending your time with us. Stay informed, keep questioning the official narrative, and we will see you back here very soon for our next deep dive into the State of the Union.